Hey, the lamp is on because it is a horrible, miserable, grim day. And my room is as dark as fuck, even though it is, 12 o'clock? Miserable. So, anyway, interesting week. Not productive or good, but interesting in a sense. Went to see Hunger Games Catching Fire on the Wednesday, which very good. If you enjoyed the first one, you'll enjoy the second one. If you've read the books and enjoy the second book, I think it's a really solid adaptation. And I think it's better than the first one, but I think it's only better than the first one because the second book is better than the first one in a way. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really curious to see what they do about the third book. Anyone who hasn't read Hunger Games books, the third book is very weird. All of the characters sort of go a bit crazy one way or another, and it's not quite as satisfying, not quite as enjoyable, and it doesn't quite have a central kind of moment. So the first two books, centre around the time in the arena. The third book doesn't necessarily have that. It suffers a bit for it, and the ending's a bit rambling and all that kind of stuff. So interesting to see what they do with that, and where they go from there, and whether they'll change it or not. We'll see. But yeah, solid book. And it got me thinking about book to film to generally adaptations of things from one medium to another. So thinking about, have you got examples of good books that become good films? Have you got examples of bad books that have been good films? Or vice versa, thinking about video games, something I like. Thinking about the adaptation of video games to films and how it never quite comes off. I can't think of any amazing video games to film adaptations, because I saw Max Payne this week as well, which just dreadful. And I think the best example is Tomb Raider, and I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah, kind of thinking about adaptations and stuff like that, and thinking about, the thing that books do well is they allow for a sense of time, and films can do that, but they seem not to somehow. So you look at something like the Ender's Game books, or what other book has, Pride and Prejudice, stuff like that. The film, because it is only 2 hours long. Oh, Twilight is another example, if you could call it that, of where the book has this slow, gradual build-up to a realisation, a decision, something like that. And then the film, because it's only 2 hours long, 2 and a bit hours long, 3 now, which is kind of getting silly, but yeah, still. It feels like they have to rush those things, and it's not like they can't show time. And I think the Ender's Game film could have shown time. Maybe Twilight and Pride and Prejudice. It's more of a different thing. It's not a progression of time and an accumulation of experience. It's a slow changing in a monologue, which is difficult to do in film. But yeah, and thinking about films and whether films are better as a TV series brings me on to, I've started watching Game of Thrones, which I'm loving. But I'm trying to pace myself, because I only have the first series. I found it on my computer. And I finally got it to work. I've never got it to work before, so I've been watching that. Pacing myself, one, because I've only got the first series. Two, because I'm hoping to get some of them for Christmas. So it's no good if I've watched both series and then get both series on box set for Christmas. So yeah, that was kind of start of the week. Met up with a good friend from Sheffield University, local lad. People who know me will know who that is. And it was good to just catch up with him, just hang out. We went to Christmas shopping, Christmas browsing. Finally sorted every present I need now till February, I think. So my brother's sorted his birthday. All my family's presents are wrapped, which I did after the last video. So it's all under the tree. You know, it's all Christmas, tick. I've just got to wait for it to come. And it's less than a week away now, which will be fun. Looking forward to that, you know. What else? My brother is arriving next week, which would be good. He's supposed to be arriving today, but he wants to spend more time in his dissertation, which is understandable. What else? Yeah, other than that, it's kind of been weird. Yesterday in particular was particularly weird. I just didn't want to do anything. And that's not a good feeling to have, really. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a feeling of I don't want to do anything. I want to play, you know, play video games. It was nothing I wanted to sit down and do. I wanted to do. I was instantly bored and wanted to go somewhere else. And maybe that's partly cabin fever. Maybe that's partly kind of apathy. But it just, you know, just that sensation of not wanting to actually start and do the day. Just a bit crappy. But generally, yeah, it's been another week. Christmas is a week away. Another application or two kind of floating around. Another rejection or two floating in. But we'll see. I'm working on redoing my portfolio, which is tedious and boring. And I don't know if I'm making a mistake by adapting the portfolio I had before, so cutting bits out and rearranging and, you know, that sort of stuff, or whether I should just go, fuck it, let's start from scratch, and think about everything I'm putting in and where I'm putting them in, rather than... I just wonder if that would make more sense and be more productive than kind of going, well, I like bits of this page and all that text, but I want to kind of... yeah. So, working on that. My artwork hasn't gone much further. In either case, I may need to go back and photograph, which is... basically, I'm intending to do a big, long drawing of a street. I've done one similar before, where I went along, photographed the street, stitched it together in Photoshop, and then traced it and kind of accented things. What I'm concerned about is this time, I don't know if it's because the street is slightly less dense, it's not a row of shop fronts as such, or I couldn't be bothered to pace every 5 steps and take a photo. I did every 10, took a photo, and whether they're too far apart for it to stitch together properly, but it's not quite working. So I'm going to have to soldier on with that and figure a workaround. But yeah, all in all, less than a week till Christmas. I can't wait. Booked to go see The Hobbit, Christmas Eve, family tradition. We go see a film Christmas Eve. I think that really started with the first Lord of the Rings film. We kind of did it a bit before then, but it was never really a thing. And then ever since then, it was first Lord of the Rings film, second Lord of the Rings film, third Lord of the Rings film. I think it was Dark Knight one year. I think it was The Hobbit last year. Hobbit again this year. So that's the tradition, and I'm looking forward to it. The house is in Christmas mode, but we need to do a big old Christmas shop this evening. So yeah. Other than that, I think I'm going to go watch another episode of Game of Thrones. But yeah. Hope you're all having a good week, and I'll probably see you in the new year, because next week's Christmas and the week after that's New Year's. I mean, I could do a post-Christmas, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. But yeah, hope you're all having fun, and I'll see you in 2014. Bye!